What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my next video for those of you who are coming here from my OB video. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kiara Selena and I mainly make nursing related videos, but we also do a bit of beauty and hair. So if you're into those things, feel free to join the family by subscribing and turning your notification bell on so you don't miss another video from me again. This is part 2 of my OB and peds video. I just made a video about my OB experience. If you guys haven't seen that, make sure you check that out by clicking on the link in the end card or the link down below, and then you can come back to this video, or you can just watch this video and go to that one after. But this is going to be my experience in pediatrics with the kids, so let's not make this video too long. Let's get into it. My pediatric rotation was not too long. I think it was about the same amount of time as my obstetric clinical. I think it was about 5 or 6 days long, and the clinical or the hospital that I did my clinical at was a Shriners Hospital, which is a very popular hospital across North America for children. I think the one that the hospital I did my clinical at is the only Shriners in Canada, but there's a whole bunch of different Shriners hospitals across America or North America, and I think each Shriners focuses on a specific thing, so they all have like their own specialty. I think there's one in New York, I believe, or somewhere around New York, where they have a Shriners hospital that focuses mainly on children who are victims of like severe burns. But the one that I was at was it was basically ortho for children who had different musculoskeletal deformities. And a lot of them, I would say 80% of the kids that I saw personally had severe scoliosis. And the other ones pretty much had spica casts. So it was really spica casts and tractions that you saw. And when I saw these kids on traction, I was literally terrified, guys, because I had never ever seen that before. And there is different types of traction, but the traction that I'm talking about is I'm gonna leave a picture up here, but it's a traction where literally bolts are screwed into a child's head, and there's this kind of like halo that kind of goes around the child's head, and it's connected to those screws. And to the top of it, there's a string, and the string has weights on it. And the weights is basically there to pull the child's head up through these screws. These screws are literally inside the child's head, and the weights pulls the child up to allow for the spine to kind of become more straight, you know, with time. So I think they add weights over time. They start light and then they go heavier and heavier and heavier in order to straighten out the spine. And I was terrified because I had never seen that before. And these little children are running around in their traction. Like, I mean, they are sprinting through the hallways, they're swinging around, they're throwing themselves down, and I'm like, these bolts are gonna rip out of these children's heads. Like, that's what I was thinking the whole time. Like, oh my God, please don't let the screw just bust through this child's head. Like, I was terrified. But I'm telling you guys, kids are stronger than we think they are. They are literally little warriors. They're so strong. And the other thing I saw was a lot of spica casts. And I'm going to post a picture of a spica cast. It's basically a cast that's on both legs with there's like a bar between the two. And it basically immobilizes it immobilizes your hips to allow for like faster healing of like femur fractures and things like that. So personally, I had a kid who had I forgot what it's called, but you know when your legs kind of go inwards, and his legs were really inwards. And so what they did was they broke both his legs, and then they put a spica cast. They broke both of his legs to kind of like reposition them so that they wouldn't be so inwards. And so they repositioned his legs by breaking both of his femurs, breaking both of his hips, I think, as well. And then they put a spica cast to immobilize his hips and his legs to allow for healing. So seeing kids like that was a little bit sad for me, because I'm just like, oh God, like these poor children have to go through all of this. However, like I said, even though you come in sad, or even though you see them and you get sad, they are masters at putting a smile on your face. And it's just amazing seeing how children are able to kind of just adapt to anything. I mean, their bounce back is so solid. Like, they come out and it's like, yeah, they have this traction, which like I would assume is extremely uncomfortable. Personally, I've never had a traction. I do have scoliosis. It's not severe, but I still get back pain from it. So I'm seeing these children who are so deformed, and I just can't imagine the pain that they're going through, because like I said, I get back pain. And they, despite their condition, despite their circumstance, they're still able to like just quickly adapt, and they're so easy to distract, you know. So my pediatric rotation was mainly just, you know, playing with these kids. We did a lot of you know, cleaning the bolts just to make sure that no infection occurs, you know, where the screws are, so making sure that the site is clean, because they kind of put gauze or like cotton around it, so making sure that it's clean, cleaning it if necessary. We did give like some medication, but most of the medication that I saw was CPNI. And for those of you who don't know what CPNI is, it's basically an epidural, but without going in the spine. It's a lot less invasive, I guess, or a lot less risky, especially for children. I saw this a lot on MedSurg as well. So it's basically, it kind of looks like an IV, except that it's in a closed plastic, and the medication is in there, and there's a wire that goes directly to the affected site. So wherever the surgery was done or wherever the pain will be, and it goes directly into there, and the medication goes from the bag directly to the affected area, and it numbs that area as opposed to going into the spine. And no, epidural is not just for pregnant women. Anybody can get epidural depending on like whatever procedure, but you don't necessarily have to be pregnant to get an epidural. So it's just a less invasive, a less dangerous way to basically help a person with pain. So with the CPNIs, I think LPNs are allowed to, well, we're definitely allowed to monitor the CPNI because we have to make sure that it's at the right rate. However, I don't think we're allowed to hang because it's kind of considered IV. So it was a lot of looking. There was a lot of looking during our rotations, following nurses. We did give some maybe like syrups, you know, Tylenol, basic medication and stuff like that. But it was mainly just playing with children, finding distractions for them, you know, monitoring the wound site. Obviously, it's kind of like med-surg. So if a kid has a wound or got a surgery done on their leg or whatever, making sure that the wound site is dry, checking for signs of infection, making sure that there's no pain, checking for capillary refill, for warmth, things like that. For movement, so your whole CTSM, your color, temperature, sensation, movement, all of that. What else? Monitoring input and output. So another thing is, obviously, if you go into surgery, depending on the type of surgery that you have, some people will get anesthesia, and anesthesia is kind of slows everything down, including your breathing. So you're checking breathing, you're doing a lot of vital signs, but you're also doing a lot of bladder scans, because a lot of times when people are under anesthesia or come out from operation and they're post-op, their bladder could be full, but they're not voiding. So just making sure that their bladder isn't full, and giving them, I think it's like 8 hours that you get in order to urinate after being post-op or after being, you know, brought out of the operation room. And then, you know, you have different protocols. In some hospitals, the protocol is to do one in and out catheter, give the person another 8 hours, do another in and out catheter. And if after that they're not urinating, then you put in an actual catheter. So, you know, just things like that. But honestly, it was an awesome experience. The parents were great. A very funny thing was that most of the mothers of these children were nurses, and like registered nurses. And the good thing about them is, like, you know, they were really good teachers, but they never invaded our space. They never made us feel uncomfortable. They never really questioned us. They just let us do our things. Like, they knew, you know, they were nursing students at a point, and they kind of just let us do our thing, let us learn, and they didn't make anything awkward. So that was like awesome, because I was just wondering, like, why are they so relaxed? Because if this was my kid, I would be tripping. But like, they were familiar. They had seen things like that before. So that was like really, really fun. But like I said, the best part was just like the kids, just their spirit, their energy. They're so positive. They're so strong. Seeing how they're able to bounce back and adapt to their situation with no problem. You know, they have this traction and these wheels that they have to carry around everywhere, but you know, they still want to play and have fun and laugh. And that was awesome. Even though you come in and it's kind of heartbreaking seeing them like that, they really know how to turn your frown upside down like nothing. They're little magicians. They're awesome. So that was pretty much it. That was my pediatric experience. Obviously, everybody's pediatric experience is going to be different. So like I said, my OB clinical, if you guys want to share your experience, you can leave it down in the comments below. But that is it for today's video. I really hope you guys like it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye.